What if the entire American economy actually needs you to be in debt? I know, it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but stick with me. Because when you look at the numbers, it starts to make a scary amount of sense. We're all told to save money, pay off our credit cards, and avoid loans. It's the responsible thing to do, right? But what if I told you that if every American suddenly became debt-free overnight, the economy wouldn't celebrate, it would collapse? To understand why, we need to look at what makes the economy tick. The most common measure is gross domestic product, or GDP. Think of it as the total value of everything produced and sold in the country. It's simple. When GDP goes up, the economy is growing. When it goes down, we're in a recession, so how does GDP grow? Mostly through spending. Your spending, my spending, corporate spending, and government spending. Every time you swipe your credit card for groceries, take out a loan for a car, or use a mortgage to buy a house, you're not just buying something for yourself, you're directly pumping money into the GDP. Let's break it down. Consumer spending makes up about 70% of the entire US economy. That's a massive number. It's the engine, and what fuels a huge chunk of that spending. You guessed it, debt. The average American has tens of thousands of dollars in debt, spread across credit cards, auto loans, student loans, and mortgages. Now think about what would happen if we all decided to aggressively pay that down instead of spending. Car sales would plummet. The housing market would freeze. Retail stores would see their sales evaporate. All that activity, which is measured in the GDP, would grind to a halt. Less spending means a lower GDP, which means a recession, job losses, and a downward spiral. This isn't an accident. It's a feature of our modern financial system. When you take out a loan, a bank essentially creates new money. It's called the credit creation theory of banking. That new money enters the economy and fuels more spending and growth. So in a very real way, the banking sector's profitability and its ability to expand the money supply are directly tied to its ability to lend you money. They need willing borrowers. Let's look at the housing market. It's a cornerstone of the American dream and the economy, but very few people can buy a house with cash. The entire industry, from construction companies to real estate agents to furniture stores, relies on people taking out mortgages. A 30-year mortgage means 30 years of interest payments to a bank and, more importantly for GDP, a massive purchase that ripples through the economy. No mortgages, no housing boom. The same logic applies to the auto industry. Car manufacturers and dealerships thrive on auto loans. The multi-year loan makes a $40,000 car seem affordable. If everyone had to pay cash, most people would buy cheaper used cars or just keep their old ones running longer. The demand for new cars would tank, threatening millions of jobs. And then there's the role of Wall Street. The financial industry doesn't just issue debt, it packages it up and sells it. Your mortgage, your car loan, your credit card debt, it all gets bundled together into complex financial products called asset-backed securities. These are then sold to investors all over the world, from hedge funds to pension funds. This creates a massive global market for American debt. The more debt Americans take on, the more of these products can be created and sold, and the more fees and profits Wall Street makes. It's a gigantic, self-perpetuating machine. The system is incentivized to keep the debt flowing. Think about it. You get constant credit card offers in the mail. Buy now, pay later is everywhere, and you can get pre-approved for a car loan in minutes. It's never been easier to go into debt. Why? Because your debt is a product. It's a raw material for the financial industry. Now let's zoom out to the biggest debtor of them all, the US government. The national debt is currently over $34 trillion. Trillion. It's a number so big it's hard to even comprehend. The government spends more than it takes in through taxes, so it covers the difference by issuing bonds. Who buys these bonds? Investors, corporations, and even other countries. US Treasury bonds are considered one of the safest investments in the world. This creates a strange paradox. The world literally invests in America's debt. The global financial system depends on the US government continuing to borrow money. If the US were to suddenly stop issuing debt, it would create a massive shock to the global system, as a primary safe asset would disappear. So, the government itself runs on debt to fund everything from infrastructure and social security to the military. And this government spending is also a key component of GDP. When the government spends on a new highway, that's billions of dollars injected directly into the economy, creating jobs and stimulating growth. Much of that spending is funded by debt. Here's the core of the issue. Our economic model is based on perpetual growth. An economy that isn't growing is considered to be failing. And the easiest, most direct way to force growth is to expand the amount of money in circulation through the creation of debt. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire to make it bigger. This creates a serious conflict. On a personal level, we know that being deep in debt is stressful and risky. It can ruin lives. We are encouraged to be financially prudent. But on a macroeconomic level, the system requires the opposite. It needs a population of willing borrowers to keep the machine running. If we all follow the advice of personal finance gurus, the national economy would falter. This isn't to say you should go out and rack up a bunch of debt. That's absolutely not the message. The risks of personal debt are very real, but it is crucial to understand the system you're participating in. The incentives are not aligned for your personal financial health. They are aligned for systemic growth. The economy's health and your personal financial health are two very different things, and often they are in direct opposition. So the next time you hear a politician or a CEO talking about the importance of a strong consumer and a growing economy, remember what that really means. It often means an economy fueled by more loans, more credit, and more people taking on more debt. America runs on debt not in spite of it, but because it was designed that way. And that, right there, is the point. What are your thoughts on this? Does it change how you view your own finances or the economy as a whole? Let me know down in the comments. It's a complex topic, and I'd love to hear your perspective. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this interesting, consider liking the video and subscribing for more content that questions the world around us. See you in the next one.